Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Funday Sunday, and we are currently in our Edinburgh, and as you can see, I'm kind of in a, not a terrible position. I do have targeting sites on the Mahan, but this is essentially going to be a very bizarre battle, to say the very least, especially with what's about to happen. As you can see, I am holed up kind of behind this island. I have my smoke screen, which now has dissipated. But if you look down at the minimap, we can see that we have a battleship actually pushing up. And there is the Funday Sunday pushing quite heavily into B at the moment. And any moment now, we're going to lose our York to the Bliskovica. And guess what? This Funday Sunday is going to keep pushing. He thinks he's gonna be able to take down a lonely Edinburgh. As you can see on the minimap, I am essentially by myself. I do have one cruiser just to the east of me, but that's about it. There are two battleships. There's an Iowa, a Funday Sunday, and a Hipper, and plus that Bliskovica that's still around there somewhere. But the Funday Sunday is still pushing in. And this is going to get very interesting very quickly. Now, I am trying to be safe. Obviously, you can very easily get citadeled in the Edinburgh. And at this range against a Funday Sunday, oh yeah, he can citadel you with no trouble at all. So I'm going to take my time and be a little bit careful. But I do have to keep in mind that the Funday Sunday does have hydroacoustics up if he does need it. I do kind of try to estimate where the Funday Sunday is going to go, fired my torpedoes, but of course he decides to start reversing direction, actually not in acceleration, just changing directions, and we are detected by his hydroacoustics, which means I probably should try to get some more solid concealment behind me. Or in between me and the Funday Sunday. The Funday Sunday is actually taking a beating from the friendly cruiser, the New Orleans. But New Orleans is not really in a position to assist me in any way. Now the Funday Sunday is pushing close to the island. He is weary of my torpedoes. More than likely he actually saw my torpedoes with his hydro up. But he is so close to the island that me and him are only 3.5 kilometers away, and I will admit, right now I'm pretty much thinking, well, crap, I'm gonna be in port here soon, but I might as well try to do as much damage as I can against this Funday Sunday. Now I was hoping he'd be silly and just push out right between this island. Hoping drop torpedoes. I am detected. I'm being proxy spotted by the Funday Sunday. It looks like he does have the module, the acquisition of enemy ships and torpedoes, and so we are being detected by the Funday Sunday with that. And right now, I've just came up with my mind. I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna reverse and I'm gonna drop torpedoes. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to see how many torpedoes I can get off. He will not be able to fire his guns because he's pushing towards me, not the other way around. And I just start reversing, waiting for the island to get by. He fires his guns, but over penetrations. Torpedoes away. Now, fortunately for me, the torpedoes actually do land. At least 2 of them. It looks like one actually caught the island, which is unfortunate. That would have brought him closer to being dead. But just how awkward is this? I can't really kill him outright. He can't really kill me outright because he's so close to me that he's actually just doing over penetration with his main calibers. Now I'm trying to get myself turned around so I can get my other side torpedoes, and he's in a terrible position and he knows it. He will actually start accelerating. He's trying to get out of there as quick as possible. Fired my lasso, and I actually get the Funday Sunday dead. I do not know how I was able to survive that bombardment against that Funday Sunday. And there's the stores pushing out as well. But that had to be the weirdest battle. And this battle even gets weirder after this. majority of our forces, our battleships, went to sea, met no resistance, and there we go. We got another kill against the stores. We are currently burning, but fortunately we should be able to survive, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But this battle was just bizarre, especially with the whole reversing to actually fight against the Videgros, and looks like we have torpedoes incoming, probably from the Otago, I believe that was pushing north. That or the... Let me see if I can find my buttons real quick. Yep, it was the Otago that was pushing up. That was his torpedoes, and I'm gonna use this concealment to my to the best effects, to say the very least. But this battle just gets so bizarre. Like one point, we do have a friendly Fletcher somewhere. I'm actually trying to find the Fletcher. Where is he? There he is. He's way over there. He went and captured D, and he's not the worst destroyer captain I've seen, but he does really ask. You really need to do a little bit better job. We'll go ahead and skip to the point where I'm talking about this Fletcher. All right, we are back with this Fletcher, and this Fletcher just let a friendly Ismo die and just hid in smoke while destroyers were basically battling him. So there is a enemy Iowa stationary behind this island, and he's going to nearly point blank range, and just watch this. He turns. He takes a massive hit from the Iowa. Iowa's secondaries are going off. Torpedoes are inbound, but the Iowa actually pulls forward. He stopped reversing. Fletcher goes down. Torpedoes, only one hit. So that Iowa just got away from sitting still while the enemy Fletcher got within 2 kilometers of him. I just could not believe it, but we'll go ahead and jump into the next replay. All right, everyone, welcome back to the next replay, and this is Brandon and his Mighty Missouri, the Mighty MO, and this is obviously the free XP ship that you can only get when you have over, I think it's like 775,000 free XP, and the only way to get free XP is either earn it, which means, oh, that's so many battles. That's well over 10,000 battles, if that, depending on how much free experience you do get. That also means you cannot spend any free XP if you want the ship. The other route would be purchasing doubloons and then converting your free XP that you do have on other ships or XP on other ships into free XP and then purchasing the Mighty Missouri. Now, the Mighty Missouri is a little bit different from the Iowa as far as that she does have radar, and it is the American radar with a range of, I think, about 9.9 kilometers, something like that. And I love my Iowa. I enjoyed the Iowa very much, and I really would love to get the Missouri. I just don't know when I'll be doing that, and I'm not planning on getting it anytime soon. Essentially, so we are currently on shots. So Brandon is pushing out. He does have high explosive ready. Usually he does this whenever he begins a match, due to the fact that more than likely the first ship you will see is a destroyer. But in this case, the Kurfürst and the Mighty Missouri on the enemy team does pop up, and you can see he also is currently using a different type of setup, which I've tried using that actual zoom in. Nothing I particularly cared for. It does benefit you because it does allow you to kind of gauge at an angle where you need to aim. So he opens fire on the Missouri, went ahead and shot off his high explosive, does get a fire, does around 6,000 points of damage, not too bad. And it looks like the Missouri on the enemy team does knock out that fire, so that Missouri on the other team is prone to any damage from pretty much from anyone. And unfortunately for Brandon's team, they do lose the gearing to due to torpedoes from the enemy gearing, and he gets another fire on that Missouri. Very nice, and that's going to burn for a little while, especially if the enemy Missouri gets caught with more fires or even floods from torpedoes. We'll see if the Missouri will be able to dodge this. Ooh, does not look like he was able to, and he's burning and possibly flooding right now. Brandon is switching over to armor piercing. He is being a little passive at the moment, but at the same time, you don't always want to rush in and brazenly just get focused down by the enemy team. So he is using his range for his advantage. But the Missouri on the enemy team just went down, but at the same time, they've lost their Benson. So they are down 3 ships to the enemy team's 1, which is highly unfortunate. Now, Brandon does start to turn in, and he's trying to bring his guns to bear. He's starting to angle up, and this is kind of normal for a Missouri or even any U.S. ship, any battleship. Really will try to angle in as much as possible. North Carolina, Iowa, and even the Montana on occasions will bring their bow in because the majority of their guns are going to be up front, while which will allow them to actually be able to fire and not receive as much damage. Now, we do know there's at least the enemy gearing currently in the cap zone, and it looks like the curve first is slowing down to a crawl. Brandon opens fire, and those look pretty good. Does around 7,000 points of damage. Now, the curve first obviously is a German battleship, and it has turtleback armor and incoming torpedoes. Will Brandon be able to dodge? I think he will be able to. That is very nice. Now, we do know there's at least the gearing in at sea, and the enemy team has captured A, B, and C, which is highly unfortunate. Now, they have taken out another cruiser, and this is kind of the bad situation to be in. You do know you have at least a gearing up front. Brandon takes a blind shot, not likely to hit. Ooh, does look like he does get a hit on the gearing. Does it over penetration. Now, that's not, I don't want to say it's difficult, but at the same time, when you're firing from your guns and it's not locked on something, oh, it is actually the Fletcher. When it's not locked onto something, your shots tend to be a little bit more wide than normal. They're not usually as focused, so something to keep in mind whenever blind firing into smoke. Brandon does fire a shot of high explosive. Does get a fire on this Montana. This Montana is showing a lot of broadside. Brandon is quickly switching over to armor piercing as quick as he can. Let's see. What do you think is going to happen to this Montana, who is 4.2 kilometers away from Iowa with armor piercing about loaded? I wonder what. Watch this. 5 citadels on that Montana, instantly wipes him out, gets a devastating strike, and is now sitting comfortably at 110,000 points of damage, which is downright fantastic. RNGesus was in his favor. Oh my gosh, I'm really envious of him. Really am. That was a fantastic shot. So he switches his attention over to the enemy Edinburgh, only really good enemy that he can see. Let's see, will he land a shot? Does around 5,000 points of damage, which is not particularly the greatest. He does push in, but he does have to be wary that there is a enemy Fletcher. He does know there is at least the Kutuzov. Bismarck has backed out and is starting to bombard him with his high explosive, but we'll see how this goes. And it looks like the enemy Kurfürst is actually on his right. Oh, this is in a very bad position to be in. Shots in from the Kurfürst does take a citadel or two. and he's trying to get turned in, but he is being focused down by both the Kerfers, the Bismarck, the Hindenburg. Oh, this is a downright terrible position. Not really much you can do. He's trying to angle in towards the Kerfers. Kerfers is probably his greatest threat right now. He also does have a Fletcher off to his right, but the Kerfers does open fire. Can he survive this? Ooh, was able to actually ricochet most of those shells. Pretty nice. Does open fire, does around 11,000 points of damage. Pretty good. Now he does really have to be careful. He has a Bismarck to his left, a Kerfers to his right, and a Fletcher as well. This is not a great position. Probably almost the best thing to do is just try to do as much damage against this Kerfers. And I think he's not going to survive much longer. Oh, look at that shot. Does about 12,000. That one was a bit iffy. He's trying to angle as much as he can. The Fletcher is on his right. He does have to be careful. That Fletcher is a pretty major threat. He does kind of switch his tensions. He does at least put his secondaries onto that Fletcher. Can he kill this Bismarck? That would be fantastic. Who's going to reload first? Is it the Kerr first, or is it going to be the Missouri? Brandon. There we go. Does take out the Kerr first, but at the same time goes down from the Kerr first. That was such a fantastic job from Brandon. Great replay. I absolutely loved it when I saw this. So this is going to be it for Funday Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jun.